Okay, the objective of today's lesson is to end up with a basic mask shape made from clay, and which will enable you in the following weeks to build up features on and to characterize. And to enable us to make this today, okay, we're firstly going to have to make a paper mould, and then we're going to be rolling out clay and then laying the clay over the top of the paper mould. Now this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. This is just a basic paper mould, and to make this we're going to need about 4 pieces of newspaper. And when you get the newspaper, just scrumple it up into a ball. Okay, tuck any loose bits into the back with your fingers, and get your second piece and wrap that over, straight over the top, and then try and get all the loose bits again, and this time using your fingers press them into the back. Now as you're building this, you want to try and make a kind of egg shape, okay, which is the shape of a head, not a ball shape. So as you are squeezing this together, make sure it's kind of long and thin like so. Okay, so the next piece of paper, again, this is my third piece, and then getting all the loose bits and tucking them in with my fingers as hard as I can, nice and firm. Okay, so we're nearly there. It's 3 pieces, and then the last piece, okay, once again over the top, and then, okay, get all those loose bits in there. Now you should end up with a mould that's about the size of a kind of Easter egg, if you like, okay, and you can see here on mine it's a little bit thinner at the bottom, a little bit wider at the top, okay, like a kind of an egg. And then to finish things off, to stop it unwrapping, maybe a little bit of tape just to hold it on. Now it will look quite rough, so don't worry, it's not meant to be all neat and tidy, but that's the first thing you need to do. Now the next thing you will need to do once you've made your paper mould is to roll out your clay. So if I just put this aside, you're going to need 2 rolling sticks, you're going to need a rolling pin, and eventually you're going to need a knife as well. Okay, and if you're given a piece of clay to use today and it's this kind of shape, okay, can you make sure that you do not roll it longer and thinner like this, okay, because that's not going to be any good for wrapping the clay over. So turn it this way round, and you'll have to stand up, okay, and you'll need to start rolling the clay by putting lots of pressure onto the clay. Now as you roll the clay out, make sure you don't end up with a big dip in the middle. Okay, you want to avoid getting a kind of dip in there. You want to try and roll it evenly, but you must stand up to do this, otherwise you won't be able to apply enough pressure. And after a few rolls, I want you to very, very gently get your hands underneath there. Okay, right underneath, both hands, lift it up, and then slowly put it back down. And this is to make sure it's not sticking to the table. Carry on rolling, and as you roll, you must always make sure that your wooden guides, okay, are always right underneath your rolling pin. So your rolling pin is always on top here, okay, because these sticks determine how thick the clay is going to be, and this width here is the perfect thickness for what we're doing. So I'm going to carry on, roll out some more, and again I'm going to turn that over, both hands, gently, gently. Don't be tempted to pick this up and slap it down, it will rip in two. Okay, so gently turn it round, roll it some more. Now the kind of shape that I want, of course, is a kind of circular shape, so I'll be able to lay my clay on top of the mould. I'm going to keep going, maybe pick it up again, okay, making sure that my sticks at all times, okay, directly underneath the rolling pin. So I roll and I roll and I roll this until it won't roll anymore, so it's the perfect thickness. Now make sure this isn't stuck, okay, so you may need to just put that aside a second, and then get your paper mould, very, very gently with both hands, try and layer it on top. You may get someone next to you to help you do this, you can help each other, and with that over the top, I'm going to gently tease it around the mould. Don't be tempted to press down hard, or all you'll do is stretch the clay and the clay is going to break and rip and it won't look as nice when you're finished. So gently tease it round the mould so the clay ends up sitting flat on the table. Okay, and you can see here, okay, that's just about right. Near the bottom here sometimes you get a fold. Don't worry too much about that, just kind of rub that away if you get a fold in the clay. And then pressing down so it's nice and neat over the top, okay, like so. And all that's left to do is to cut around it. And when we cut around it, okay, leave a tiny little gap, okay, don't cut too close to the very edge, and make sure your knife is upright. Okay, maybe put with a finger on top, that's how I prefer to use a knife. And then slowly start neatly cutting around. Now you're not digging this out, okay, you're just very cleanly, very carefully going around the clay. Now this can be done in maybe in 2 bits, so you could come down here and you could just go off the side there, and then this way, slowly, carefully, keeping my knife upright all the way around back to there. Okay, and once you've done that, you can just kind of peel this off, look. Okay, now this clay that you've taken off, okay, this clay that you've got here, you just want to put into a ball, because you're going to need this to build the rest of the clay face. So we'll just put that aside. Don't be tempted to sort of play with that too much, because you're just going to dry it out and then it'll be no good to use, because it'll end up cracking and breaking. You won't be able to model it very well. So just kind of leave that to the side ready to use, okay?